And they already speak Spanish?
No, well...
Or are they learning Spanish?
4 of them, their household is Spanish, primarily Spanish speaking, so they're learning English.
They're learning English?
Mm-hmm.
So you're helping them learn English?
Mm-hmm.
So she came to me and she said, well, first of all, she started the Innovation Lab with a group of about 5 girls. Mm-hmm. And what we found is when they come in groups, they're not being themselves. And so some of them have splintered off and started to do better. So she splintered off, started writing her own blog in Spanish. It was amazing. Well, then that kind of, you know, there wasn't motivation to keep that going. So she came to me and she said, I really want to go research how kids learn English and then how they learn Spanish and see if that helps me. She was still bent on learning the Spanish. Well, now, just this weekend, she's come to me and said, you know, since I've been going to this kindergarten class every day, I have more drive and passion to do that. I don't even want to do the Spanish anymore, and my parents are fine with it, that I don't do the Spanish. She already has 3 years of Spanish, mm-hmm. and that's all she needs for college. So this was just, you know, something she was doing.
So now it's working with kids.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you do with them?
I go through and teach them the sounds of each letter every day, and then we go over that. And it's like a repetitive process, and then we go over how to write the letters and how to make them into words and how to make the sounds go all the way into the words and how that kind of stuff. And I read.
That's fun?
It's really fun.
What's fun about it?
Seeing them learn. I like when they get the click when it's like, oh, this is a C and this makes cat. You know, I just love it so much.
You talked about just being around Bill, too. What about that is so intriguing?
The way he has so much love for the kids, but still knows how to discipline, but not like discipline. I don't mean discipline like you have to go sit in timeout. I mean like teach in a disciplined manner for the kids to actually get what he's saying. Because he doesn't speak like he's speaking to 6-year-olds or 5-year-olds. He speaks as if he's speaking to an adult and they understand him. He does the whole thing where he thinks that we're all getting lost in translation and we're all getting lost in the texting and the computer and the Facebook, and so he does a good morning thing where they learn how to curtsy and they know what a curtsy is and they know how to bow and they know all that handshaking and all that kind of thing, and they know that in a handshake you have to squeeze, and that's what you do, because most little kids when you shake their hands it's like holding their hands, but it's not. He teaches them the things that we hardly remember how to do, and they understand it.
Can you tell me an example from your experience of teaching? Is there an incident that happened that you recall where you had a feeling of
This little boy named Xander had been reading books, and then he started taking book tests, but he wasn't doing well, so he would read the books to me and I would help him figure out what the words actually meant, and then he would go take a book test, which is a reading test and seeing how much you remember on the computer, but usually 3rd graders do it. That's when you start doing it, is when you're in 3rd grade, and he's in kindergarten, and the first day that I had gone over the book with him and we had talked about it, and then he went and took the test, he got 5 out of 5, and that was the first time he had ever done that, and he was just so excited. If that was a good, I don't know if that was a good example.
Okay, there's something that it's very important about what you just said. I asked you for an example, and there was about half a second before you started giving me the example. That's a really good indicator. When I talk to people about something that they say they like, and I give me an example of you know, a good time with that. If they can't really quickly give me an example, I start wondering whether they really have been paying attention to what they say that they like to do. But you didn't hesitate at all. Bang, you had an example right off the top of your head. That tells me that you're serious, that this is something that's really in your head, right? So that makes me excited. You know what I love teaching too? I recently discovered, only when I was 40 years old, did I discover what I think is my calling in life. Before I thought it was computers, and I thought it was systems thinking. I thought maybe it was, then I became a tester, and I was really good at that. So I thought software testing. Maybe I'm really good at software tester, but it doesn't feel like a calling to me. And then I started teaching testing, And I thought, well, maybe that's what I'm good at, and because I am good at that. But then suddenly it all clicked. It's a couple years ago, as while I was writing my book. Um, I realized that what I love to do, what is just I can do it, and I never get tired doing it, is helping somebody go from feeling stupid to feeling smart. Because it's like you're giving someone life. It's like before they didn't even occupy their own body. They didn't even own their own body. They weren't even fully in their own life. Because they felt like, oh, I'm just nothing. I'm not smart enough. You know, and then later, when they realize I am smart enough, I can learn this stuff. Then it's like they have a new life. They have an aura now of I can do things, and I'm important. I matter. And of course, what comes after that is a really fun effect too, which is the feeling that they can help other people do that too. So then it spreads, and I started that. I got that ball rolling. I can take a little bit of credit for that. Mostly it's what they did, but I showed them the door, or I opened the door for them. I helped them get that door open. And all the techniques that go along with that are fun to learn. But to me, what's really cool is that every single different student is a different challenge. It's like golfing on a bunch of different golf courses. It's not the same golfing because every day is different, and I don't even play golf, but I imagine the golfers like it because it's always a different challenge with different golf courses. It's the same game, but that doesn't mean that it's boring. Like, oh, I played this yesterday, because it's always a new challenge, and that's how I feel when I deal with students. Now, I mostly deal with adult students. I don't have the opportunity to deal with people who are younger than 20 usually. And usually they're at least 20, 23, 24, and they're working in a computer company by the time that I ever see them. And I'm excited because I would like to work with younger folks, and maybe help some of them have a better time than I had when I was in school. So I think you may be attracted to a similar kind of thing that attracts me, is that the feeling that you're giving somebody the world in a way.
Yeah.
And it's not really like it was yours to give them. That was theirs all along, but it's still, you feel like, hey, because of me, you didn't have to suffer for years.
Okay, so now I'm having this struggle here. So help me, both of you, wise people. The very thing that she's trying to change and escape from, she's going to and trying to figure out how to perpetuate.
What do you mean?
It's like you want to see how kids learn, and we're talking about how to make somebody get something and not feel stupid. And I'm completely struggling with this. I don't know the answer. So aren't we